Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Easy Natural English with Liam. Today is another beautiful day here in Okinawa, Japan. And today I'm going to talk to you about manga and anime because somebody in the comments section of the YouTube requested this topic, and it's maybe an interesting topic because I live in Japan, so I am surrounded by manga and anime. So just first I want to say to the Japanese listeners who maybe don't know this, or maybe other people who don't know this, but in English, when we say manga in English, it means Japanese comic. So for those of you who don't know, manga is the Japanese word for comic. But in English, when we say manga, it means Japanese comic. So, for example, Spider-Man is just a comic because it's American. But Dragon Ball could be called manga because it's a Japanese comic. And then anime is a Japanese cartoon. So Tom and Jerry is a regular cartoon, Tom and Jerry. But Pokemon is anime because it's a Japanese cartoon. And we use these special words because the Japanese comics and cartoons, they're very unique. They have a very unique style. You know, when you see one, you know immediately, this is Japanese because it's a very unique style. And now it's become very, very popular in Europe and America and, everywhere else in the world. So, I think the comment on YouTube asked me about what is popular in Japan compared to other countries. I think that was the question. It was a long time ago now. But that's an interesting question because it's a little bit different, I think. I think the options for manga and anime, which are usually, at least the ones that are popular, at least in Europe and America. I can't speak for other countries because I'm not sure. But in the Western countries, tends to be a small number, like much smaller than Japan. So today, actually, I went to the bookstore to buy some more manga because I like to read manga for studying Japanese. It's a really easy way to read. I have the pictures there to help me if I don't understand. Of course, it's easier than reading a novel. And also it helps me to learn kind of conversational Japanese because written Japanese and spoken Japanese can be very different. So I like to read manga. If you're watching the YouTube version, you'll see behind me there's a bunch of manga lined up here. So today I went to the bookstore to buy some more comics, and there's the variety is overwhelming. Overwhelming means there's so much. It's like, wow, what do I do? What do I do? There's just almost too many choices. It takes a long time to decide because there are just so many options. But I think in Western countries, there'd be much less options. The manga that's translated into other languages, it's maybe only like the very popular ones. So usually, overseas, so this is for Japanese listeners who don't know what's popular overseas. I think Pokemon is number one. When I was a child, that was the first Japanese cartoon that I watched was Pokemon. And when I was in high school, it was so popular. We were all watching the cartoon, the anime. We were all collecting the Pokemon cards and playing at lunchtime, playing during our break time. We all had like the Game Boy version of the game. It's really popular. And then these days I think like Dragon Ball is very popular, and Naruto is popular. Kind of those adventure. Like One Piece as well. Those kind of like adventure type anime and manga. It tends to be the ones with the kind of story where there's like one character traveling through this world, coming across an enemy, beating the enemy, traveling further, beating another enemy, traveling further, beating a bigger enemy. Yeah, for me, those types are a bit repetitive. Like I said, I did like Pokemon when I was younger, and I still enjoy Pokemon now if I watch it. But yeah, these days I like kind of manga with more complicated stories that, yeah, it's more ongoing, not just, yeah, beat an enemy, find a new enemy, beat a new enemy, find a new enemy. So, for example, at the moment, I'm reading a manga called Ajin, and that's about these people who cannot die. And the boy, the main character, he discovers that he is one of these people who cannot die, and the government are chasing him and trying to catch him to do tests on him. So yeah, the story is like continuous. It's not just, starting again. So it's a very different style. Yeah, what else is popular overseas? Well, something else that's different too is here in Japan, it's totally acceptable for adults to enjoy manga and anime. But unfortunately, in many Western countries, it tends to be frowned upon, tends to be looked down on, if adults are reading comics. So when I was a young boy, I used to read comics a lot. That's actually how I learned to read when I was younger, by reading comics. So by the time I went to school, my reading level was pretty good for my age because I'd spent so much time reading comics. I was reading a comic called Beano and one called Dandy, if anyone is interested. Beano, yeah, and Dandy, they're very popular comics for young children in the UK. But then as we get older, it starts to be, like if I wonder what age, like high school, we start high school at 12. I think if I were to take my comics to high school, everybody would make fun of me. Everybody maybe would bully me. And they'd say like, oh, are you a baby? Are you a child? Why are you reading comics? So, yeah, the culture's a bit different than Japan. And I think it's a shame because, adults should be able to enjoy comics, because comics can even have, a more adult type story. Like I said, the one Ajin that I'm reading, I guess, teenagers could enjoy it, but it'd probably be a bit scary for young children and a bit gory. Gory means like lots of blood and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of a shame that adults can't enjoy those things in the West without people judging them, without people looking. But yeah, here in Japan, it's no problem at all. Before living in Okinawa, I lived in Tokyo, and I saw many like business people, like adults who work in an office wearing a suit, sitting on the train reading a comic, reading manga, or maybe they're reading it on their phone, and nobody was looking, nobody's judging them. So yeah, you can be a bit more free to do what you want to do, which is actually a funny point, because many of my students studying English here in Japan, when I was teaching in Tokyo, many of them told me they want to move to America because America is free. But to be honest, I think sometimes America and Europe, we can be more judgmental of what people are doing. We might look at you and go, haha, what an idiot, or like, what a baby or something. But here in Japan, I see like really crazy looking people sometimes wearing really crazy clothes, doing crazy things. And, nobody looks. Maybe they're judging in their mind, but they're not looking at them. They're not saying things to them. And they're kind of just left to be free and left to do what they want to do. So yeah, perhaps Japan is pretty free. I know sometimes in the workplace it's not, but in other ways it's pretty free actually. So yeah, how about you? Which manga and anime are popular in your country? If you're on the YouTube version of this, you can comment below with which ones are popular where you live and which ones you like. For everyone listening on the podcast version, you can't comment there. So if you want to comment, come over to the YouTube channel and comment there. But to both groups of people, thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, review, everything else. And I will see you all back here next time.